How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi, host of Tier Talk, and I'm going to start a group of videos on inmate manipulation. Now, I have some already posted, but the videos I'm going to start doing now are going to be based on my inmate manipulation course. It's a very long course, so I thought it was best to actually do it segment by segment because there's a lot to cover, and I want to make sure I keep people's interest. So today we're going to discuss one of the first principles in the laws of influence. Now, when I first got into inmate manipulation, it was while I was going for my psychology degree in school. And I read a book, which I thought was a great book. It was by Dr. Robert Cialdini. And forgive me, I may be saying his last name wrong, but it's Cialdini. And it was a great book. It dealt with how people can influence others. So it's basically used for probably people that are in sales. But I thought, hey, wait a second. We have that in our correctional facility. Manipulative inmates like to influence others, like to gain some form of compliance. So when I looked at the principles that were used in this book to influence others, well, I noticed that those principles can actually be applied to how inmates can manipulate us because it acts on our automatic need to respond. So one of the first parts of my manipulation course relates from this book and the 6 principles of influence. So today we're going to talk about reciprocity, which is basically the feeling of obligation. I do for you, you do for me. So we're going to go to our sponsors. When I come back, I'm going to go to a video of Dr. Robert Cialdini explaining this law and then how that applies to us, how it applies to us. So stand by for our sponsors.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Being a corrections officer takes its toll on even the strongest individuals. The constant need to perform at the highest level, putting your life at risk in a hostile environment, and the mental scarring of traumatic experiences. 31% of corrections officers show symptoms of PTSD, and 66% of people with PTSD also suffer with a substance abuse problem. The Transformations First Responders program is specially designed to help veterans and officers heal from the grips of addiction and PTSD in a comfortable, supportive, and serene setting. You are not alone. If you have questions about the services we offer, give us a call at 866-762-8454 to get more information on this affordable and life-changing program.
One of the first that we learn as citizens of our culture, it's the principle of reciprocation. The one that says, I am obligated to give back to you the form of behavior that you first give to me. If you invite me to a party, I should invite you to one of mine. Right? If you remember my birthday with a gift, I should remember yours with a gift.
Now listen closely to this part of the video.
And if you do me a favor, I owe you a favor. And what I learned is that very simply, people say yes to those they owe. They just say yes to those they owe. Every member of every human culture has been trained to play by this rule. You must not take without giving in return. So the implication for a leader seems to me clear. If you wish to be more influential, let's say you go into a room and you want to influence the people in that room to move in concert with a program or an initiative or an idea or proposal that you have, the first question you should ask is not, who can help me here? The first question is, whom can I help here?
That is a phenomenal perspective. Very unique. Here we are, we're working in a unit, and we're wondering what we can do for the inmate. So we have our guard up for that. But then you got that manipulative inmate that's there for the longer term, got his game on, willing to take multiple steps to get to where they got to be. And they're thinking, in order for me to get something from that officer or from that staff member, I got to do something for them. So they're thinking, what can I do for them? That's why we don't accept favors in prison. Favors lead to obligation. I give you an order, it's an order, do this. If you want to be cordial, do this, please. But one thing we don't do is we don't ask, can you do this? Or do you mind doing this? Because if the outcome is favorable and the inmate does do it, well, then it looks like the inmate did us a favor. And now in return, we get that sense of obligation. Correct? I mean, that's what the doctor just said, just in the video. So we want to avoid that sense of obligation. There are sometimes inmates will come up and say, hey, Gange, you're not like those other officers. I'll tell you something. When I clean your area, Gange, I'm going to make sure it's clean good. Don't worry, I got your back. It's like, come here, man. Come here for a second. That's your job, to clean it. And if you don't clean it to how I like it, then I'll remove you. But the point is, you ain't doing me no favors by doing what you're supposed to do or by doing what I told you to do. So do your job. I'm not asking for any favors. And at the end of the day, I'll take a look to make sure it suffices. But there's no favors here. I'm not obligated to you. I'm not going to be obligated to you. There's a lot of stories where inmates have saved officers' lives. And that's a great story. Face value. Great story. I love to read about those. But at the end of the day, when the incident has occurred and the officer or staff member's life has been saved, what happens next? What should administration do? Well, now the officer or the staff member's life who has been saved, oh my God, they must have a great sense of obligation, right? Whether it was because of a medical issue or because the officer was, or the staff member was being assaulted by another inmate, which could have been a setup, who knows? But having said that, let's say it's not, and another inmate comes and saves the officer's life. What should administration do? Well, right off the bat, we have to alleviate that sense of obligation between that officer and that inmate. And the best way to do that is to transfer that inmate out. Plus, that will also protect the inmate. In case where he gets around, he saves an officer's life or saves the staff member's life. That may not be looked at as too favorable amongst the other inmates in that facility. But again, we do it because we want to lift that feeling of obligation. That officer, that civilian staff member's life was just saved by an inmate. That officer, that civilian staff member may feel obligated to that inmate. So we have to now step up and protect that staff member. And the best way to do that is to move that inmate to alleviate that sense of obligation. So the feeling of obligation, which relates to that first rule of reciprocity, is basically you do for me, I do for you, and we're balanced. So remember, guys, when you're working in a unit and you're wondering, man, I wonder what these inmates are going to expect from me today. Just remember, there's going to be that one inmate who's sizing you up, who's wondering, what can they do for you so you will do for them? And that's a great perspective related to the first principle and the first video here on inmate manipulation. As always, guys, the show is Tier Talk. Love you guys. Please stay safe. And guys, if you haven't subscribed, interact, engage, and hit that bell. That bell's going to notify you every time I post a video up. Video number 2 on the second principle will be coming up soon. Take care, guys, and stay safe.